Hello everybody and welcome to today's video. Today we're gonna talk about this sweater. As you might know, I've been knitting it in several videos that I'm gonna link you up here as a playlist, my Knit With Me playlist that I did stop when I opened up everything I had at that point from this sweater. But now I started it again and finished it in the course of like 5 days, and I wanted to let you know how I did it, and maybe it can be an inspiration for you if you are interested in knitting a sweater. I did not use a pattern, so I'm just going to explain how I constructed it and how you can do it too. So the first thing that is very important to me is that I got the wool secondhand. I think everybody should do it how they think it's best, but I think there's already enough resources out there if it's clothes or wool or fabric, so I chose to buy secondhand wool. I had a limited amount, it was 340 grams of wool, and the first thing I did was making a swatch. I think making a swatch, it's something I did for the first time, I think, but it has been really helpful. Making a swatch helps you determine how many stitches you need for your garment. So I made my swatch to figure out how many stitches I need for 10 centimeters in width and 10 centimeters in height. And once I had that, I knew how many stitches I needed to cast on for the neckline. This sweater is constructed top down as a raglan sweater, and so the first thing I did was cast on the neckline. I think I ended up casting on 80 stitches, but it was the third try. Like, I ended up with 80 stitches, but that was not what I tried first. And I did a twisted rib, so I twisted all the knit stitches, but the purl stitches I just did normally. And another thing that I wanted to do is this folded neckline. So in order to make that happen, I just knit double the length of the neckline I wanted to have, and then knit these two stitches together, like the beginning with where I was actually at that moment. And if I find one, I'm gonna link you a tutorial down below so you can like check out the techniques I used throughout the sweater. And then when my neckline was done, I started with the raglan increases. So what I did is I divided the stitches by 6, and I used 1/6 for each sleeve and 2/6 or 1/3 for the back and the front. I also chose to do it very simply, so I don't have any short rows or techniques to shape the neckline. It's just like this sweater is the same on both sides, so I could wear it either way around, which usually does not make the perfect fit, or it could be more perfect, but it's just the easiest way to do it, especially if you're a beginner like me. And the raglan increases I made in every second row. That was something I did wrong at first try, because I increased in each row I made, but this time I only did every second row. So I determined these stitches that were at the 1/6, 1/3, 1/6, 1/3 mark, and before and after each raglan stitch I picked up a stitch from the row beneath, like from the thread between, and I twisted it to make it possible to not have holes. I twisted it in different directions to make sure that it would look symmetrical, and that worked pretty well. I just kept increasing until I thought it was enough. One good trick for this is that you have another garment that you already have in your wardrobe that works, that it has a raglan like construction. It doesn't have to be a knitted sweater. For me, I just chose a regular sweater, and that helped me to determine how much it must be. You can also try it on if your needles are long enough. For me, that was not the case, so I just increased and increased and increased until I felt like it should be enough. I have enough stitches for the sleeves, I have enough stitches for the body, and it would be enough to like go underneath my arms and not hurt. Once I was at that point, I just divided the sleeves from the body part and put them on individual threads and left one sleeve on the needle. Usually you would start with the body part and do the sleeves afterwards, but because I did not know if I had enough thread, I chose to do the sleeves first, because it's not negotiable how long these are. I just wanted to have full length sleeves. and use the rest of the yarn for the body part, however much would be left, and that would determine the length of the sweater. From the start I wanted to do a cropped sweater, and I knew that there was not more wool to do anything else than a cropped sweater, but I was just, during the whole process, I was hoping that there would be enough wool to actually get a length that you can wear. I did not pick up any stitches for the sleeves or for the body part. I did it the most simple way I know. So I just divided the stitches and started knitting on one sleeve. Of course, I could start decreasing because I don't need as many stitches in the end at my wrist as I need at my shoulder. And I just measured how many stitches I would need at my wrist. I would count the stitches that I already had, and so I found out that there was about 20 stitches I could decrease. By knowing how many rows it would take to get to a length where it would meet my wrist, I knew that I could decrease 1 stitch every 3 rows. Now, if you're doing balloon sleeves or anything like that, you of course would not decrease a lot once you are at the wrist, but because I did not have more threads than I absolutely needed, I wanted to start decreasing immediately to just have a pretty fitted sleeve to save as much wool as possible for the body part. So I just decreased 1 stitch every 3 rows, and then I ended up at my desired number of stitches whenever I did that last ribbed part at my wrists. I cast off in a pretty normal way and did the other sleeve after that. And then I started with the body part, and I just knit in the round as long as I had thread and wool. Once I thought I had only enough wool left for the ribbed part on the bottom, I started with that. I again did that twisted rib where I would do 1 knit, 1 purl, but I would twist the knitted one to just create a more beautiful rib, because I think it just looks way better, at least the way I knit. I am not able to knit as nicely if I do normal knit and purl. And for the cast off, I decided to try something new, and I looked up a tutorial for the tubular bind off, and I did that for the first time. It was a bit complicated actually, but I am happy that it worked out pretty well. And so I could cast it off, and actually I have just like maybe 3 meters of yarn left. That's really not much. It worked out perfectly fine, so that I ended up with a sweater that fits me. Now I can show you how the sweater looks, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It is cropped as I wanted it to be, so I can mainly wear it with high-waisted pants, but my linen pants, for example, is the perfect pants to combine this sweater with, and I hope I will get a lot of wear out of it. I'm really happy I opened up the knit I did the first time and tried a second time, because now I'm much more happy with how it turned out, and I don't think that I would have had enough wool if I continued with the first try that I had on my needles. So here it is, and I love that I was able to do it without a pattern. Of course, using pattern is a great option as well, but I also think it's very interesting to experiment with what you have and what you're imagining and create your own pattern for your own sweater. Of course, this is a bit more complicated if you have a limited amount of wool, because your possibilities are limited and you have to make sure that the wool is enough or find different solutions for that. As well, of course, the construction of a sweater is complicated if you're not used to it, if you haven't made many sweaters with many patterns. But I think it worked out fine. So let me know if you have ever tried knitting your own sweater, if you have used patterns, or if you have done it in another way, made up your own pattern. And also let me know if you normally do other handcrafting things like sewing or crocheting or other crafts to create garments or other things you can need in your household or for your wardrobe. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos, I'm going to link you a video here and a playlist here that you can check out if you're interested. And I also hope to see you next time. Bye!